It's on air, and we are still having some technical difficulties, so please bear with us a few minutes. Meanwhile, can we mute all cell phone at this point? I did already. Please. Is IT people coming down?
We're fixing an apartment right now.
Oh, okay.
A couple more minutes, right?
Okay.
No pressure.
I guess we can do that, with our mic system. We can yell at each other. Oh, okay.
Peg can't come in. Waiting for, because Peg is trying to get online.
Yeah, online. Okay. That's. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, let me just make sure it goes in.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Bye. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Today is January 21st, regular open meeting of the third Laguna Hills Mutual Board of Directors, a California non-profit mutual benefit corporation. Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, 9:35, about 5 minutes behind. We are here at the Laguna Woods Village Community Center, boardroom, 24351 El Toro Road, Laguna Woods, California. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular third mutual board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with Civil Code 4920. Okay, we have quorum, so I call this meeting to order. That's the first. Second, let's do pledge allegiance. Director Johnson, could you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Johnson. Now, item 3, approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Robert first, and then Steve Second. Any discussion with, about agenda? No? I have. It's in this closed meeting, I'm sorry. So this is closed meeting agenda. Okay. So without any question or concern, so we'll approve the agenda unanimously. Item 4, approval of minutes. First, December 12, 2024, special open meeting. This was a vacancy fill of the VMS. Am I correct? So,
I'll make the move.
okay, I'll raise a move.
So if you want, we can approve all of them at the same time.
At the same time? Okay. A, could you withdraw your motion then?
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, good,
And I'll
thank you.
make a motion to approve all of them at the same time.
Okay, good.
Second.
Second is Stephen. He's ahead of me. Thank you. So item A, B, C, any discussion or concern about the meeting minutes? No? Okay, so say aye for all the approval? Oh, good, thank you. It's approved unanimously. Item 5, cherry marks. Okay. All of our third mutual members. First of all, I would like to address some concerns that has been brought to our attention by our third resident lately. As an ongoing issue in LA area, our residents have contacted and raised a great concern over the fire hazard of our village, especially in third mutual community, because our third mutual properties are closer to next park area. Since then, I asked landscape department to put utmost effort to clean up debris and fallen tree branches after last strong winds. Sometime early last week, I noticed a lady at the building 5371. She was raking leaves, pine needles, and the branch around her building at night. It was very humble to see our members do some volunteer work in dark at night. Thank you to that lady. Since our members raised some fire concerns, Landscape Director Kurt Wieman explained last Friday that he was going to work with our risk analyst, third board, and the OC fire authorities on the potential issues, including a plan to contact OCFA for fire hazard guidelines and the tree maintenances. Regarding the current LA fire, Korean American Association is campaigning for their own club donations and is looking for around 20,000 donations. So it's a grateful some club organization start moving and answer some questions that we have. Second, third board is looking for a VMS representative again. I hope we have some good candidate of our representative to VMS board. This selection will be done on Friday, January 31st, 2025. This is my chair comment. Thank you for listening. Now, let's go back to and continue with item 6, open forum. That means it is time for us to listen our members' comments, such as suggestions, ideas, and complaints. However, prior to the member comment, I would like to remind that any open forum speakers are limited for 3 minutes per a speaker. It is at this time, members only may address the board of directors regarding items not on agenda and within the jurisdiction of this board of directors. Board reserve the right to limit total time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speaker may not give their time to any other members. No audio, no video, recording by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments are allowed. Members can attend our meeting by Zoom or email. I'm not going to speak all of those. So now let's go to open forum. Michaela, is there comments?
Yes, we have three. The first one is from Chris Collins.
Okay.
Good morning, Chris Collins, 3306Q. Thank you, and we have a great deal to be grateful for. The holidays gave us a chance to acknowledge our gratitude for the many benefits and blessings we experience, and celebrating the holiday with family and friends let us acknowledge the power of community. The foundation of Laguna Woods Village is particularly grateful for the power of community and the generous support it receives via donations from individuals, clubs, and other organizations in the village. This generous support permits the foundation of Laguna Woods Village to once again provide holiday cheer to New Year village residents. So with the help of social services and South County Outreach Food Pantry, the foundation was able to identify 135 in need of some cheer and provided them with grocery cards to ensure each had a special holiday meal, something that they probably would not have had otherwise. These donations and support are particularly appreciated as the foundation celebrates its 27th year of operation. This year, the foundation was able to continue its core mission of providing temporary emergency financial assistance to residents needing help. In addition, it continued funding Meals on Wheels, providing scholarships to Alzheimer's support services, transporting residents to the food pantry, sustaining fall prevention classes, and providing emergency response devices to fall risk residents, among other ongoing programs. Of course, this year the foundation also started a new initiative to provide financial assistance for hearing aids. So in addition to all the individual residents who have donated, the foundation is particularly grateful to the following clubs, religious organizations, and other groups that donated this past year. So here's a short list: the Aqueducts, Art Association, Center for Spiritual Living, Chicago Club, College Club, Concerned Citizens, Garden Club, Joyful Christian Church, Korean Bio Senior Group, Lawn Bowling Club, Men's Golf Club, Needlework Club, Publishing Club, Republican Club of Laguna Woods Village, Saddleback Kiwanis Club, Sarah's Bible Group, Sewing Supers, Table Tennis Club, Taiwanese Club, and Yonsei Alumni Association. So best wishes for a new year, and thank you for your generous support of the foundation, which is truly neighbors helping neighbors. So for more information, please go to our website, which is thefoundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org, or you can contact us by email, thefoundation@comline.com. Please note that donations can always be made using PayPal on the foundation website. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Your service is well recognized.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Joan Milliman.
Good morning. Joan Milliman, 969 3E. I come here again to invite you as members of the board to our first annual presentation. It's going to be a long course on guess what? Robert's Rules. It should be fun, but also I want to tell you that you don't have to come to the whole year if you're not able. You can take the guide home and study it yourself and probably get through it a lot faster than I will be able to present it. But I hope you'll come. The meeting is February 3rd at 3:30 in the afternoon at 969 Cali, Aragon, in the recreation room. And maybe you should come a little early so we have room for everybody, but you will be able to take this home, and we have other things to offer that will help you in your study and your proficiency as members of the Roberts Rules Club. Thank you.
President Burr,
Yes.
could you state the address again on that?
Yes. 969 Cali, Aragon. It's the only three-story building in that place. And we are
What time start?
3:30 in the afternoon.
I have a question. Is it going to be a monthly meeting or?
Yes.
Oh, same.
Same place. We usually meet on the first Monday unless it's a holiday. And
Okay.
and often it is. So watch the Globe for the announcement in case you don't know what's going on. Okay?
Thank you.
Joan,
Yes.
969 is near
Right.
the library, right?
Right. We're just beyond the library.
I just, for purposes,
Thank
because
you, that's-
969 is not a number that most people recognize as being Third Mutual. So I just want to point out the location in case
Right.
people.
And you can park right next to the building. That's the best place.
Yeah.
So
Thank
hope
you,
to see you
Joan.
all there. Thank you.
Thank you. I definitely need that seminar, I think. Thank you. I do not know.
Listen, we all do. It's a lifelong experience. So
Yes.
don't berate yourselves. If you know three motions, the main motion, amendment, and amendment to the amendment, that's a great start.
Yes.
It helps. It helps to focus you. And that's what it's all about, focus and legality.
Yeah.
Everything you do is printed out in your minutes, so you want to be sure that it's done correctly. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my great teacher is Mr. Robert Muchnick at this point.
Good man.
Thank you. Yeah, Robert's rules. This is Robert. Yeah. Who's next?
Next speaker is Ro Kendall.
Oh, Ro.
Good morning, board and staff. We have several issues in the Garden Villa Association. I'm speaking to you as a building captain, as a Region 3 rep. I have like 10 buildings that I look after and, take care of issues with. I'm also vice president of the Garden Villa Association newly this month. And I'm a volunteer, okay? I'm wearing a lot of hats for a volunteer. I put in a lot of time. You're all volunteers, and I know that you put in many, many hours. The only people here that aren't volunteers are the staff. And I don't think that they're doing a very good job. I'm really sorry to say that. I don't want to pick on you, but it just seems unfair that here we are really trying to get issues resolved, and we're not getting the kind of response that we need from staff to resolve issues. First of all, I'm speaking on behalf of a building captain in my region who is not allowed to speak here because she's a renter. I understand. But she's volunteering her time to do this job when many won't. I have several buildings in my district that do not have building captains because people really don't want to do the job. So I think when somebody really puts their heart into it and wants to resolve issues, there must be a way for them to be heard as a renter. She has several issues. One of them, and I'm speaking on her behalf now because she can't. One of them is a situation of an owner in her building who is a hoarder. He's a danger to the building. He's a danger to, he's just a dangerous person to have around. There was a person in his unit that could not be helped by the EMS services. They couldn't get their gurney into the place where she was in a bed somewhere to pick her up and take her to a hospital. She subsequently died. When he moved in, I think it was 7 years ago, there were bed bugs that went to a unit down below. It's unsanitary. He is got boxes and garbage planted. He's a hoarder. He's living in a cave of garbage. This has been an issue that has been addressed with the compliance department for over a year. I have many emails and photos of the situation that have been sent to compliance. Stuart has gotten involved in the issue with compliance. And nothing, they're doing what they can. But there's issues with the safety of our community, of the people in that building. It's a fire hazard. And he's got plants everywhere that he's way outside the bounds of what's allowed in the rules. But he is not, they can't do anything. I also heard from someone, and I don't know if this is true, that he might be related to someone in the compliance department. Really? Is that what it takes to protect yourself from rules? We don't know that, but I think it bears investigating. Or why hasn't it been dealt with? Because it's absolutely such a hazard to everyone. Anyway, I'm out of time, and I have other issues. There's theft, there's washing machine issues that they're my issues, but I gave my time
Ro,
for her.
can I contact you after meeting that I can get the information of that?
Okay.
I'll forward that to Siobhan to make sure it's follow up. Okay?
Okay,
Okay.
we all appreciate that.
Thank you. You can trust me.
I know, you've always come through. Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Final speaker is Bunny Carpenter.
I'm Bunny Carpenter, 5361P, and we're all worried about the fires. And I just want you to know that there is a disaster plan, and it's on the web. And I just think that we ought to let everybody know that there is a disaster plan, because when I go home, I'm going to make a copy of it, because every place I go now wants to know what the village disaster plan is for the fires. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That's it? Okay. Now respond to open speakers. Any response from board? Yes.
Just a
Steve.
question. Rose, you mentioned this male person, it's a hoarder. Do you have the address of him?
We're not allowed
Okay.
They'll provide that to the.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't want, that's not public.
Right. So that's why I asked her to see if I can contact her. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I will contact her. Okay. I will get the information. Okay. Okay. Any more? Howard, how was the second board meeting?
So far, so good.
Good. Thank you. He's our new member, and he's I guess learning too, as I am. Any? No? Good. Let's move then. Thank you for all the speakers. Now, item 8, CEO reports.
Thank you, President Park. This morning, I want to take a few minutes to provide an overview of the results of the 2024 VMS Resident Satisfaction Survey. This was the first time we have conducted the survey, and we will be conducting it yearly moving forward. The full report is available on the Village website under the News tab. In terms of how the survey came to be, in May, the VMS Senior Management and Board Directors met to update the VMS Strategic Plan and set priorities for the next 3 years. One of those is a key commitment to providing exceptional service to our community. This goal, like any others, requires a clear and visible means to measure progress and success. And to that end, a VMS ad hoc committee was formed and recommended conducting a resident satisfaction survey on an annual basis. These survey objectives include measuring satisfaction with VMS services, identifying areas for improvement, enabling a consistent way to compare results over time, build confidence in the results among residents and staff, and enhance alignment with resident expectations and our organizational goals. The survey period was November 12th to 30th, 2024. The survey was available both digitally or by paper copy paper surveys were available in our various facilities here in the community. The survey was promoted via What's Up in the Village and the Village Breeze, and it received support from the GRF Housing Mutual presidents and club presidents. Overall, the survey response rate was 3%, which may have been influenced by the ID requirement. An ID number was required for the survey to ensure integrity, confirming residency, and preventing duplicate submissions. The ID requirement may discourage participation due to the lack of anonymity. The next chart shows the satisfaction level by length of residency. The above average satisfaction score of 3.5 highlights an opportunity for further improvement toward achieving the goal of exceptional service. The survey results provide guidance for targeted efforts. Satisfaction trends based on residency length suggest an opportunity to better engage with our long-term residents. Lower satisfaction levels among this group may stem from evolving expectations or comparisons to previous service standards. This chart reflects residents in all housing mutuals, and they all demonstrate similar satisfaction levels. In terms of satisfaction by function, events in sports and leisure and amenities ranked high. Functional areas most in need of improvement are building maintenance and landscaping. This chart shows communication satisfaction by mutual, and it's pretty consistent across the board. The next chart shows reliance on communication channel by mutual, and it shows that primarily residents rely on email, the Village Breeze, and the Laguna Woods Globe for information. In terms of digital versus paper surveys, out of the more than 800 paper surveys distributed, 76 hard copy surveys were returned, and there is little difference in satisfaction levels between digital and paper respondents, as shown on the chart to your right. In terms of satisfaction levels between digital and paper respondents, there's consistency across the board with the exception of security and maintenance, which have small differences between the digital and paper respondents. With respect to communication, there's little difference between satisfaction levels between digital and paper respondents. And this chart shows the reliance on communication channel by digital versus paper respondents. And the key distinction is that paper respondents are less likely to use digital communication channels, as one would expect. In terms of considerations for future surveys, future VMS surveys should focus on maintaining data reliability and providing actionable insights. Recommendations include retaining the ID requirement to ensure data accuracy and prevent duplicate responses, utilizing hybrid formats to balance cost considerations with inclusivity, scheduling surveys earlier in the year to align with strategic and budget planning processes, and determining the best way to reach our non-English speakers to make sure they are well represented in the survey group. And that concludes my update this morning.
Thank you. Any comments from board? Any question? Yes, Jules?
I would like to know, I think I asked a question before, perhaps not of you, of what experience, for example, did any of the people who created the actual questions of the survey? And I ask that because anyone who has any experience with surveys knows that the survey results can be predetermined by the survey questions. There's a huge problem of bias, and I'm wondering, like, for example, what experience the people who created the survey had and what was done in order to avoid bias.
The ad hoc committee had 2 members with extensive experience, and then they had a consultant work with them to address the specific issue that you just mentioned.
Was that a professional?
Yes.
Who is that?
I don't have the name off the top of my head.
Can I get that? Thank you.
Okay, Moon?
Thank you. 3% response is not very good. Is there any way we can make it better, or is VMS or VMS board think is there any better way we can increase the When you look at this is democracy, 3%, no meaning.
So I have two answers for you, please. Once it was a voluntary survey, and what we find out with voluntary surveys is that you generally receive a response from people who are very satisfied or people who are very dissatisfied. Many of the neutral groups or participants don't respond because it's a voluntary survey. The second way, we need to, again, make sure we reach all segments of our community, and we will be doing increased efforts in that area moving forward.
Okay, Joel first. Yes.
Addressing that, there really are some ways of doing it, and we can discuss them. It doesn't have to be discussed here. But there really are ways of making sure you get a lot more responses. It may be a little bit aggressive, but they generally work.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Yes, Dr. Yun?
Somehow we have to increase our resident to participate not only this survey or any other activities we are doing. If they don't get involved, this system's not gonna work. Because we are running very, very democratic way. No autocratic ways, so everybody have to put their chips in it, make it work. So if we have only 3% survey or 3% something less than 5%, this system is not going to work as we are intended to. So it goes a lot of other ways. Well, though I'm Korean and I'm involved in Korean society in Laguna Woods, I'm sending almost a lot of email, letters, and whenever I have a chance, even I write it, I quote a poem and anything I want, encourage their participation. Somehow we have to do that. If our resident doesn't get involved, and then once in a while they have a water leak, once in a while they have a traffic jam or a traffic that they come in here and pounding it. That system not work. Somehow, community-wise, we have to increase this participation. I don't know how, but BMS come, many money, a lot of money, many times, a lot of times, effort, and come up with us to report the 3% result. Very, very unsatisfactory. Thank you.
Yes, Reza.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the survey, out of the 3% return that we have, do we have a breakdown of each mutual, how many people responded? Because I understand the numbers, but there is no...
Sure, I can provide that to you.
Okay.
Because that's important to see if most of the people were United responded, most of the people, the 50s.
Understood. I can provide that to you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Any more comments about the survey? Yes. Oh,
Yeah, I just wanted to take this, this opportunity first to thank those members who are here today and those who watch on television later for your participation, because we need you. And we really appreciate when you come to participate in the meetings. And I do want to share, a couple of years ago when we were hit with a huge insurance bill, unexpected because we had been reevaluated and our value of our property, needless to say, had gone up considerably. And because our CC&Rs dictated that we had to have insurance for everything, we had a referendum to the community. And people worked very hard, and those who participated in the referendum worked very hard. And of the people who voted to change the CC&Rs so that we could have a little more flexibility, 85% of the people who voted said, please change the CC&Rs, but we couldn't get 50% of the community to vote. And so I think while I'm saying thank you to those who are here today, just speak to your neighbors. Whenever we have an issue, we need you. And it's really important, because had we had that other than over 50% of people who live here, we might have been able to go to the courts for help. But they would say, you can't even get half your community out. So please, thank you to those who are here. Thank you to those who listen. Thank you to those who watch. And as we move forward, please participate.
Okay, good, thank you. Yes, Joe?
I just want to add a postscript to what Donna said. She seemed to indicate that we actually had to change the CC&Rs in order to change the amount of insurance that we could purchase. It is my opinion, and subsequently, I believe it is also the opinion of our present attorney, that we really don't need that we never needed to change the CC&Rs, that the whole idea of the changing the CC&Rs was I don't want to get into it. It was totally unnecessary. We presently are not buying the type of insurance that the CC&Rs seem to require, and in fact, a specific provision of the insurance portion of our CC&Rs allows us to reevaluate and change the amount of insurance we buy every year. I realize that it's not 100% certain, but our attorney has now apparently agreed with me that we can take that position.
Okay, good, thank you. Thanks for the good opinion. Any more? I have a quick. I like to reiterate that 3% is not reasonable survey percentage. And the second thing is, are we satisfied with the approximately 3.5 satisfaction level out of 0 to 5 range? Are we satisfied with it? That's my another question. Thank you. Let's move to consent calendar. 9. Any?
The consent calendar?
Yes, all items? Okay. So Robert first and Reza second. Do we have any concern over the all consent calendar items? If none, we're voting yes for all?
Yes.
Okay. Robert, Reza, yes. Okay, so all unanimous. Thank you. Item 10, unfinished business. I didn't ask Donna, but please read off for us. Item A and B. A is entertain motion to reconsider the damage reimbursement administrative fee. Item B is entertain motion to reconsider the appeal policy. First, Donna, would you read item A for us?
Where do you have what you want me to read?
10A.
The yellow sheet.
Yellow sheet.
Attachment 1.
Yeah.
Page 5 of 6.
Yeah.
You can tell this was a surprise assignment, so forgive me.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're looking at Resolution 0325XX variance request. Is that the first one?
No.
Then-
Fee for damage reimbursement.
I didn't think it was.
Yes.
Page 5 of 6. 10A.
5 of 6. Last month you read 28 days.
There are, just so you all know, this entire agenda is filled with yellow pages.
I'm sorry,
Very
I did
good.
not discuss with you ahead of time.
No problem.
Okay. Okay,
And
please.
we don't charge more for the entertainment
Yes.
that goes with it. Okay, this is Resolution 0325XX, administrative fee for damage reimbursement proceedings. Whereas pursuant to Civil Code 5855, the board is required to hold hearings to impose any monetary charges to reimburse third for costs incurred in the repair of damage to the common area or facilities caused by the actions or inactions of a member, his or her tenant, guest, invitee, or vendor, and whereas significant staff time is necessary to investigate, document, and prepare concise reports for the damage reimbursement hearings, and Whereas the board adopted an administrative fee to offset the administrative costs incurred. Now therefore be it resolved, January 21st, 2025, that the Board of Directors hereby revises the administrative fee for damage reimbursement proceedings, and resolve further the administrative fee for costs related to damage reimbursement proceedings will be 10% of the total cost of the damages, with a minimum amount of $100 and a maximum amount of $200. And resolve further, this fee would become applicable at the point the hearing notification is generated, as at that point, additional staff work is involved. And resolve further, Resolution 03-23-121, adopted October 17, 2023, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of the corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. December initial notification was then done, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied.
Thank you, Donna. So it's Robert moved, and who's second? Second is Steve. So any discussion, any concern over this administration fee? Yes.
I'd just like the members to know that currently, until we pass this new resolution, currently the fee is 10% of whatever the amount is that's owed to the mutual. So if it's $5,000, then 10% of that would be $500. So in actuality, we are trying to lower the cost to represent the actual staff time, not just a flat 10%.
Yes, that does make sense. Any more comments or concern over this bill? No? Then let's vote. Yes.
On screen, huh?
Vote on screen, yes.
On screen?
Peggy has her hand raised. Peggy,
Yeah,
are you
Peggy.
voting for?
Hello, Peggy. Unmuted first. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, she's still on Zoom. She has her hand raised, but she's on mute.
Peggy, you gotta unmute first. Okay. 9. We need. I did. I did. Yes, I vote yes. Okay. Good. So it's the 10. Peggy, can you vote, please? Oh, in this case, what? Is abstain?
Yeah, I'll mark her as abstained.
Okay, good. 10-0-0, but 1 abstain from Peggy. Okay, good. Thank you. Oh, you want me to wait? Okay. Oh, not yet. Not yet.
Abstain, yeah, abstain.
I can fix it too.
Okay.
All righty. Let me pass the phone over to the secretary so they can record you back. Oh, her hand is up.
Oh, Peggy, you gotta unmute.
She's trying to unmute, but she says it.
Oh, I see.
She raised her hand.
Yeah, but she cannot unmute.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Can you, Michaela, can you unmute?
No.
No, it has
Yeah,
to be.
okay. Good.
Okay, am I
Good.
unmuted now?
Yes, we can hear you, Peggy.
Okay, good. Thank you. Voting result is? Unanimous?
Yeah.
Okay, 11-0. So it's passed. Please, resident, understand we are imposing almost like a $100 to maximum $200 fee. Thank you. Now, item number B, entertain motion to reconsider appeal policy. Could you read it, please.
And now that I'm forewarned,
Okay.
we're looking at Resolution 0325XX, Appeal Policy. Whereas Third Laguna Hills Mutuals, known as Third, governing documents require a member to seek approval from the Board of Directors, known as Board, on various matters of corporate business by way of the committee structure or management. And whereas the Board recognized that need to amend the appeal policy to streamline the process and provide efficiencies, now therefore be it resolved January 21st, 2025, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the revised appeal policy as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further that Resolution 032370, adopted June 20th, 23, is hereby superseded in its entirety and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. 28-day has been satisfied.
Okay. Robert moved and Reza second. Any discussion about this appeal policy? Yes. Joe?
Yes, I strongly object to the adoption of the new appeal policy. It epitomizes what's wrong with our disciplinary procedures. It says all decisions, whether in open or executive session, shall be final and not subject to additional review. They call it an effort to review and streamline the process. Sure, we could streamline the process by giving it to the members, by taking away their right to appeal a guilty verdict. Why the need to streamline this procedure? For 26 appeals in 6 years, an average of one every 3 months, is it worth that, saving that tiny bit of work in order to deny every member the most basic right that all of us take for granted? This is solely for staff's benefit and members' detriment. Staff, by this provision, seeks to prevent a member from complaining about the staff. Staff can do no wrong. So staff initiates a case before the Executive Hearing Committee, prosecutes the case, and now it seeks to prevent the member from appealing the case. Even if the decision is crazy, the member is stuck. As I will show when I discuss my proposed Bill of Rights, staff has already stacked the deck against the members in 2 ways. One, it alone decides whether to file a complaint. There is no unbiased third party to determine if they have a good case. And then staff secretly provides the judges with all the information it has, and it doesn't share all that information with the member. And now, with this proposed new rule, staff is essentially saying that even the craziest decision cannot be appealed. Staff can do wrong. This is so un-American, I challenge anyone here to cite a single situation where a person has no right to appeal a disciplinary conviction. It's unheard of. I'm glad staff, if you will pardon me, I'm glad staff has proposed this. It shows how mean-spirited it is. But are you willing to tell our members that we've changed our procedures so that no one can now appeal a disciplinary procedure, even one with a whopping fine? Staff's own agenda attachment shows the weakness of their argument. Here's the current policy. Quote, it is the stated policy that members should have the right to appeal decisions made by a committee whose membership is made up of less than a full board. That's our policy. When we change rules, there should be a solid basis for making the change. When we change policy, there should even be a stronger reason for making that change. I urge, if my hands would ever allow me to change the next page, I urge that policy means philosophy. It shows what we think is important. It reflects our standards, our values. It shows who we are, the way we treat each other. It shows our character. Here, staff is asking us to take away a basic right that every member takes for granted so they can provide efficiencies, so they don't have to bother with the tedious job of attending a single appeal hearing every 3 months. That's shameful. This proposal stinks, and it should be shouted down. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Robert.
Reading from the policy, members do have the right to appeal if they have new relevant information related to the case. If all they're doing is want to regurgitate the same kind of thing that they presented the first time, then there's no appeal process. But if they have new relevant information, there is an appeals process built into this.
Right, I understand, except...
I'm not debating it with you. I'm
Sure.
making this statement.
Yes.
I'm not going back and forth with you.
I read the same way that Robert read. So, any more comments? No? Okay, good. Let's do vote. Good. Mine is work today.
And I vote now?
Yes. Talk to Michaela.
Michaela?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Okay, thank you.
Support.
Thank you, Peggy. It's a 10 yes, 1 no, and motion passed. Resolution passed. Thank you, board members. Now, new business. Are we ready to move new business? Okay, good. 11A, entertain motion to open and close nomination for secretarial officer position. Last month, a board meeting, our ex-secretary Ruth Johnson resigned publicly at the open meeting. So we have to go through the normal nomination process. So I'd like to see a motion to open nomination for.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to open and close nomination for secretary officer position.
Yes, okay, just open at this point. Just open.
It's quick.
Just open.
I was reading the statement. It says open and close.
No, just
Correct.
open.
Let's open first.
Just open first.
Director
Yes.
Moon has his hand up.
Yes.
May I? Thank you. I would like recommend to nominate the Stephen Parsons for secretary position.
We haven't, we didn't approve the motion.
Approve the motion to open the nomination
I thought
first.
you opened.
I'll second the
You-
motion to open.
Yes, and then,
We vote on it.
yeah, it's open, so we
Now
all,
it's-
everybody
now it's
agrees.
open. Now
It's
it's
open, yes. Unanimous decision. Okay, now it's open. Yes.
Let me repeat again. Stephen Parsons, I'll nominate for secretary.
Okay, do you accept the nomination? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would
Yes.
like to would like to nominate Ruth for the position.
would you accept, Ruth, the nomination? Yes. Okay, good. So we have two candidates. Any more nomination? Yes.
Move we close nominations.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a move to close the nomination now.
You see, we always have two directors fighting, so I gotta be referee for that. Okay, okay.
I already did.
Okay, so it's a fight. Yeah.
One sit over there and one sit over here.
Okay, so we close the nomination for at this point.
No, you got to vote to close nominations.
yeah.
I'll
We
second.
voted?
Reza moves, I'll second. Now we have to vote to
Vote,
close
vote, yes. Close the nomination. Okay, thank you. You got all tally? Michaela? Okay, good. So can you hand out the ballot, please?
I'm in trouble all the time. 12
Did you
you
take your medication this morning?
No. That's why.
Did you skip one? Is there any way you didn't get your vote?
Hey, Michaela, do I give you mine?
Yeah, is there any way you could use the chat function on Zoom?
Hold
And
on.
and send it to me via chat?
I have this wonderful new iPad, so let's see.
Sure, I can send you a chat and you can just respond to it.
Okay, good.
So, Donna, would you observe the tally, please? Thank you.
Let me just finish writing.
Oh, that's a big shot.
Peggy, I have yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Once we have item 11 is done, we'll have 5 minutes break, the bio break, I think.
So I can take my medication. So I can take my medication.
Director Robert Wichnick is holding pretty well because he didn't take a medication this morning, I think.
Giving away personal information, I'm offended by that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Robert, me too.
What? Oh. Oh, it's barking. Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, we got done? Paul, could you announce, please?
Okay, the final vote tally on this is Steve Parsons with 7 votes and Ruth Johnson with 4 votes. Your new secretary is Steve Parsons.
Okay, good. Thank you. Congratulations, Steve. Good. So our new secretary, Steve Parsons. Thank you.
Now you can move.
Now you can move over here.
You want to move it? Okay, after 5. Okay.
But you have to read the resolutions.
Okay. Okay, now, entertain motion to approve revised resolution for election of officers. Paul, could you read it, please?
Steve can read it.
I could read it if you guys would like me to.
Yes, please,
Sure.
whoever.
Okay. Let me just pull it up on my screen. Okay, Resolution 0325XX, appointment of officers, resolved on January 21st, 2025, pursuant to 3rd Laguna Hills Mutual Bylaws, Article 9, which sets guidelines, terms, and responsibilities for the election of officers to this corporation. The following persons are hereby elected to the office indicated next to their names to serve. S.K. Park, President; Reza Karimi, First Vice President; Robert Muchnick, Second Vice President; Donna Rainzo Stack, Treasurer; and Steve Parsons, Secretary. Resolve further that the following staff person is hereby appointed as ex officio officer of this corporation: Siobhan Foster, Vice President ex officio; Carlos Rojas, Assistant Secretary ex officio; and Steve Hormuth, Assistant Treasurer ex officio. Resolve further that Resolution 03-24-157, adopted December 17, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are directed on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution.
So, thank you, and we entertain motion to approve. Robert first, and then Reza second. We all unanimous vote? Yes?
Yes.
Good, thank
Yes.
you. Peggy, yes?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, good, thank you. Item B is done. Now, item C, entertain motion to approve, I think it's a revised, right? Instead of revisal. Revised of committee advisor role? Okay, good. So, Steve, could you read it for us?
Resolution 03-25-XX, revisal of committee advisor role. Whereas Third Laguna Hills Mutuals, known as Third, bylaw states that the committee chairs shall recommend to the president the names of their respective committees' advisors, subject to the final approval of the board of directors. The advisors shall have voting rights unless the board of directors, by resolution, determines otherwise, according to Section 7, Period 1, Period 3, Period 1. And whereas at the December 17th, 2024 regular closed executive committee board meeting, the Third Laguna Hills Mutual, known as Third, board directors recognized excuse me, the need to revise the committee advisor roles, authorizing a minimum of up to two, a maximum of up to 2 advisors per committee as non-voting roles. Now therefore be it resolved, January 21, 2025, that the board of directors of this corporation hereby approves the revisal of committee advisor roles, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Any motion to move?
I'll make the motion to approve the
Okay,
resolution.
and the second is Robert. Reza first. And do we have any discussion about the roles of the advisors? No? Okay, so we all vote for approval of the revisal? Good, thank you.
Yes.
So Peggy also said yes, Item D, entertain motion to approve Building 3101 walkway realignment.
So moved.
Robert moved, and then
Second.
Reza second. Any discussion? No? We just voted, or we need discussion?
I will just share.
Okay.
We've been dealing with this particular walkway for the last couple of months based on an initial request by the resident of this particular unit. We have previously approved one approach. The resident decided that that was not an acceptable approach from their perspective. We went back to the drawing board, and we now have the current approach in front of us. And I guess the important thing for the residents to understand is we approved the realignment of the concrete walkway adjacent to this building, subject to the member agreeing to pay for the improvement.
Any comment? Nope. Let's vote.
Aye.
Thank you, Peggy.
Mine is not working.
Use this, that's why, because you have to use this.
Oh, your finger doesn't work.
Your finger doesn't count.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm going to mark Director Yoon as absent since he stepped outside.
Yes.
We got only one between us, three of us.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Voting 11 yes, 0 no. So motion passed. Now item E, entertain motion to approve updated committee assignment or appointment.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, Reza move. Who's the second? Okay.
I'll second.
Dr. Yoon, second. Any discussion of the assignment?
Yeah, I think Dr. Moon has
I second it.
I know, but you have any changes because you were discussing that before? I'm asking for the
I
name.
don't have any
Any comments? Okay.
fine with it.
So any assignment or any argument? Nothing? It's too smooth.
Argument?
Would you like the resolution to be read?
Yes, please. I think we should read all the assignment, right, Paul?
Sure, I could just go, if you want, I can go through the changes and just say
Just the
for each
Yeah,
committee
just
which
changes.
changes.
Yeah,
we
okay,
don't have
let's
to go
do
through
it.
every
Yeah,
person.
please do.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just quickly read the top resolution, 0325XX. Third mutual committee appointments. Resolved January 21st, 2025, that the following persons are hereby appointed to serve on the committees and services of this corporation. Resolved further that each committee chair may appoint additional members and advisors with interim approval by the president, subject to the approval of the board of directors. Finance committee, which meets every month. Donna Rain Sostak as chair.
You don't have to read all members, but
Oh, no, I'm just reading the changes.
Right.
So Donna Rain Sostak will be chair. Craig Wayne is just a committee member. And we added Howard Fox. For Architectural Control Standards Committee, removed Donna Rain Sostak, added Peggy Moore, removed Mike Butler and Mike Pleen from the non-voting advisors, and added Mark Serlnick and Lisa Mills as the non-voting advisors. For the Landscape Committee, removed Patricia Bailey and Diane Bonar as non-voting advisors, and added kept Mark Brenner and Crystal Mayer. Maintenance and Construction Committee, for non-voting advisors, there'll be David Gorovitz and Ajit Gidwani. Resident Policy and Compliance Committee, non-voting advisors removed Stuart Hack, Teresa Keegan, added Joshua Sue, and Sharon Yonashiro. Sorry, one sec, I have some changes right here. Okay, so to which one, Paul?
resident policy.
Okay, so for resident policy, Ruth Johnson was removed from the committee, added in place Steve Parsons. Non-voting advisors removed Stuart Hack, Teresa Keegan, Joshua Shu, Sharon Yonashiro. Executive Hearings Committee removed Ruth Johnson, added Steve Parsons as the member on even months, or they switched member on even month, alternate on odd month. Removed Craig Wayne, added Donna Rain Sostak. No changes for Water Conservation Committee. For Garden Villa Rec Room, removed voting advisor Lynn Jarrett, just kept non-voting advisors Lorna Soong and Stuart Hack. And then the Executive Committee added Howard Fox. Resolve further that Resolution 03-24-139, adopted November 19th, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of this corporation to carry out this resolution.
Also, GRF assignment as well, please.
Yes, let me pull that one up. Okay. Resolution 03-25XX, GRF committee appointments resolved January 21st, 2025, that in compliance with Article 7, Section 7.3 of the Golden Rain Foundation bylaws, the following persons are hereby appointed to serve on the committees of the Golden Rain Foundation. No changes for Community Activities Committee. For Finance Committee, removed Craig Wayne, Moon Yoon, added Donna Rain Sostak and Howard Fox. Landscape Committee, removed Reza Karimi, added Donna Rain Sostak. No changes for Maintenance and Construction Committee. Media and Communications, removed Donna Rain Sostak, added Howard Fox. For Broadband Ad Hoc Committee, I believe they'll be adding Moon Yoon as the alternate. Mobility and Vehicles Committee, no changes. Security and Community Access Committee, no changes. Disaster Preparedness Task Force, no changes. And then for Laguna Woods Village traffic hearings, it's switching, so Robert Muchnick will be full-time on the committee, and SK Park will be the alternate on that committee. Information Technology Advisory Committee, there's no changes. Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee, adding Reza Karimi. And Select Audit Committee, remove Peggy Moore and add Candace Tisdall, the VMS third representative, onto that committee. Resolve further that Resolution 03-24-140, adopted November 19, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve?
And then second is,
The,
so we have a question?
yeah, the only
Okay.
question I have is going back to the committee assignments for third. Okay. All right. Under Executive Hearing Committee, you removed Ruth Johnson. Are we replacing that with Steve Parsons?
Yes.
Did they say that?
Yes.
I missed that? Never mind.
Pay attention.
Never mind.
Yes.
I withdraw
Yes,
my
Steve.
comment.
Is it odd and even month?
Yes.
Yes.
You're on even months.
Okay.
However, you can all both come at the same time. Okay, good. So we have a motion to approve. We all approve the motion?
Yes.
Unanimous? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Peggy.
So,
One
the
no.
Jules?
Okay,
No.
Jules,
Oh, Jules?
Yeah,
Okay.
Jules is opposed resolution, so it's a 10-1-0. Thank you. We'll have 5 minutes break. Thank you. Donna is the first one, but she's not here, so I'm waiting for her to start because it's third mutual committee report is item 12. There she's coming. Okay, now let's resume our meeting. Item 12, third mutual committee report. A, finance committee report. Donna, please.
Okay, yes. And welcome everybody to the very first finance report of 2025. And Happy New Year to everybody. And as we begin, we always start with the 30,000-foot view of overlooking everything, all of the funds, the revenues, the expenses, et cetera. And you can see that our assessment revenue was approximately $40 million. Our non-assessment revenue, a little over $4 million, for a total revenue of just under $44 million, against expenses of $40.493 million. Therefore, we have a net revenue of $3.3 million. So we always like to see having a net revenue. And if you give me a second to catch my breath, because I had to run back here to the break. If we go to the next one, the next slide. If you, okay, they changed the order. Yeah, I have a different order here, and this is the one I wanted. So thank you very much for doing it. It looked like it was still in the old format. We used to kind of jump around, and I really like going right from that 30,000-foot overview. It always makes sense to me to compare it to budget right away. And so from now on, we'll be doing that in that order. And thank you very much for Michaela for changing the order in time. And you can see that our actual assessment revenue was exactly what we expected. Non-assessment revenues were far better than budget, $683,000, for total revenue, again, on the positive side, or on the negative side, sorry, that non-assessment revenue was negative $683,000. And total revenue the same. And total expenses, as you can see, were lower. So we actually have a bottom line, and I was going to that much faster than I intended to, so that the positive is $1.85 million, and we're very happy to see that. So looking now more detailed, let's go to the next slide. And let's look at our DVD. You know what, we missed one slide. Michaela, if you can go back. I think the order didn't get changed.
Page 2.
It was page 2. We had the income statement, then we had it against budget, and then there should have been a slide that looks at the operating budget. There it is, yes. Got moved way back. Yeah, there is some movement going on there that I wasn't expecting. We always pay very close attention to the operating budget. And why? Because those are the expenses we anticipate. That's what we expect to see happen. And we always, of course, looking at it against revenue. So our assessment revenue, a little over $25 million. Our non-assessment revenue, $2.6 million, for total revenue of $28 million. Against total expenses, again, you see an operating deficit. Before, the deficit you saw was total. Right now, it's an operating deficit. And we're going to look at that much more closely as we move on. So now we can continue. And here are the places where we varied, where we did not hit exactly as we intended or expected, and it's hard to do that anyway. And you can see green is always my favorite color. It should be yours, because those bars going over on the side to green mean that we have done better than anticipated. We've done better than budget. The biggest was actually in the area of insurance, and we have our relationship with United to thank in good part for that, because we are doing a collaborative insurance now with them, and that has benefited both mutuals. So we're very, very happy to see that. Employee compensation, that's kind of a combination of good news and bad news. We are ahead of budget, but it's partly because we still have open positions. And we're working hard to fill them. That work is constantly ongoing, but those positions remain open, and as long as they do, the budget does look better than anticipated. But someone's got to do the work, and so what we have been doing is farming that out and doing some outside services. And interestingly, even though we have had work done by outside services, we are finding that we still are better than budget for outside services as well. So that's all very good. You see a fairly large, long red bar at the bottom, and red is not the direction we like to see. And that is fees and charges to residents. And you kind of wonder, how could we be there? What this was is getting caught up on the backlog of all of those damages that we had during that period of heavy rain a couple of years ago. And the first insurance claims, the first balances after we started settling things, were much more favorable than they were in 2024 last year. So the budget for 2024, assuming revenues equal to what they had been similar in 2023, missed the mark because, in fact, those later cases did not result in the same revenue. We have other ways to make it up. We're going to be just fine, but that was really just a miss on anticipated revenue from the insurance claims. So if you'll move on. Slide number 5. We're back to the pie charts, which I really like, and I hope you do as well, and our members do, because you can just so quickly see where our revenue is coming from. This pie chart looks at non-assessment revenue, a little over $4 million. And chargeable services accounted for 38% of that. Investment interest was our second best, which was 35%. Lease processing fees, not a lot, but 6%, and we'll take it because everything helps. Laundry revenue, permit fee, and as you look on, these are very, very small slices of that pie. And so, again, important to keep in mind chargeable services and income interest from investments are our two biggest sources of non-assessment revenue. As we move on to the next slide, we're looking at our total expenses. And again, we put it back in a pie chart so that it's much easier to visualize. You can see, and not surprisingly, employee compensation and related expenses are 31%. What is interesting is outside services, which really are sort of employee expenses. It's just that hiring outside services and contractors to do that work. And that's 26%. So altogether, we've got 57% of our total expenses relate to employee compensation, work being done, et cetera. Insurance accounts for about 18% of our budget, which is actually quite a bit, but we've been improving on that a little. We will be keeping, and we want you to know that, keeping a very, very close watch on what's happening with the insurance industry since the fires, et cetera. And we just want you to know that your board is working on it and looking at it very closely. We get an allocation to the mutuals from GRF, and that's very small. That's about 3%. You can see our utilities were 16%. That's something that we really have little control over, except we do, when it currently comes to water, ask our residents to pitch in. And you'll be hearing a little more about that when the Water Conservation Committee presents. But for the most part, utility rates are fixed. It's how much of them we use that determines that percentage. And then very, very small materials and repairs and maintenance. And if we go on, that's that operating slide that we saw that got in the wrong direction. So let's continue. You don't need to see it more than once, I'm sure. These are our remaining. We looked at the operating fund balances. It was nice to see it in front of the non-operating funds. The non-operating funds, Garden Villa, unappropriated expenditures, that's really what we typically refer to as a contingency fund. Expenses, we know there are going to be some. The question is, where are they going to be? And that's budget is based upon assumptions. The disaster fund, replacement funds, which is really our reserve, and our totals. And you can see that our current balances right now, we have $37 million in total in those non-operating fund balances. And so let's move on to the next. And here you see the same thing just in a bar chart. And it's interesting, these funds never really change position. The top very thin bar, you have to look really, really closely to see kind of a mustardy, skinny line, and that's the Garden Villa Recreation Room Fund. Next, unappropriated expenditures, that is the contingency fund. And you can see that it changes slightly, but it still is usually fairly healthy. The disaster fund, if you notice, from 2020, it had a shrinkage a bit in 2021, and that shrinkage is sort of held. And the reason for that is that right between 2020 and 2021, we were able to get earthquake insurance. And so that said we didn't have to maintain the same balance in the disaster fund. And so just for your review as you look at it. And we move to the last slide in this. And this shows resales, and it shows them for 2022, 23, and 24. And the bar chart is very self-explanatory, and you can see that in 2022, we had 386 resales, only 335 in 23, and 322 in 24. So our resales have been dropping a bit. Right after the pandemic, it seemed like we had a pretty good year. The average resale price, it's something we always like to think about and keep in mind. And you'll notice that the average resale price has gone up considerably from 2022 to now. But I urge you to keep in mind that there are some units that have considerably high price tags at over $1 million, and that can tend to skew the numbers. Robert, yeah.
I just want to point out, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that this chart only goes through November in terms of sales, not including December.
It does.
So the 322 is year-to-date.
Yeah, and it may
compared to
wind up,
year-to-date
depending upon
before.
how good
So
December was. It may wind up.
December will add to
Yeah.
those figures.
And
Yeah.
actually, they're still down certainly from 2022. I doubt that, we don't expect that bonanza. But I thought it was important to point out the prices are holding very well. It looks like they're going up, and in many cases they are. But we always need to keep in mind there are some very high-ticket properties that skew those results. And with that, that concludes this portion. And I just have a few remarks that I wanted to make, some chair remarks, because it is the beginning of the year. We do spend a lot of time on finance. We start working on it right away. In fact, we are working on the 2026 budget already. And I just wanted to share with you what that process is as we go through the year. In November, December, the preceding year, so in 24, we already had departments considering their existing capital, looking at what they might anticipate as we move into this year and looking forward to the next. In December, the new board members and the returning ones are provided an overview of the business plan process and how we do, so that we're ready to hit the ground running in January. January and February, there are workshops for all of the committees. Each of the departments is working hard on their projected budgets as they're looking forward and seeing what we anticipate this year and what might need some work in the next year. By April, preliminary budgets are already developed by department heads and presented to the boards in May. That's version 1, and that will be at an open meeting. You will all get to hear about that. Landscape and maintenance and construction are the biggest ones because those are our biggest ticket areas. And meetings are held with all 3 of the mutual corporations. And you are, again, also always invited, and it will be televised as well. Moving on, July, version 2, prepared and again distributed to board members for their review. And we're always taking out that pencil and trying to tweak the numbers. By August, we're already at version 3. And in September, the business plan, that is the budget for the following year, is adopted. And then in November, letters are sent to each manor, and you find out what we will have to do the following year. So I did want to share that with you, and I wanted to put this up. This is something I'd like to call all of your attention to, because it's a wonderful, this graphic really represents not just your assessment. People say, I pay this amount, but where does it go? And you pay one fee for both third and GRF. And this chart, this infographic, shows you which portion goes to GRF, which portion goes to third, and in which area, broken down to things like security and insurance and landscape. And as you move around it, it is available in many, many places. And the place that you've just recently, hopefully seen it, is in this current issue of The Breeze that came out in January and February. And it's on page 46. And so I would just like to call your attention to it. It really gives you a much better picture of where our assessment money goes, and a better picture, I think, than we're always usually able to present at these meetings. We break down where we are, but to know the overall budget, that's it. And with that, thank you very much. That concludes the finance report and the chair's report.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Item B, report of architectural control and standard.
Any question allowed?
Oh, you have a question? Okay, I thought, yes,
Comment or question?
Oh, sure.
Okay, page 4 over 12, actually page 2 of the financial report.
Give me the header, because they got a little mixed up, if you notice that order
Yeah.
kind of switched around a bit.
Yeah. My
Next time they'll
question-
be in the right
yeah.
order, and we'll be set.
I have 3 questions. One is, it said exclude depreciation. So if we included the depreciation, we're gonna be positive? Or can you report in any case of finance department report include depreciation? I wanna see that how much we have depreciation.
Yeah, we can certainly request
Okay.
that for you.
And then page 6, it has employee compensation is 31%. Third mutual has employee, or we talking about BMS employee, or what employee we talking about?
VMS does, to my knowledge, all of our employees are through VMS, are they not?
Right.
Okay, so we divided whatever BMS expense, we divide third mutual portion is included here,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And
based upon what we use.
okay, same as outside service, all that is our portion of third
Absolutely.
mutual portion, right? And then one concern is we saved some money for the last year for insurance because we did some combined with United. And this year we have we have LA fire. And certainly we're going to have a lot of problem with the insurance forward. And then on top of that, you see the sales price is going up about $600 some from the $600 some and then from the $500 some. So property value going up. So we have 2 factors hitting to us for insurance. One is our property value is going up. And another one is all the insurance companies are so scared now. So they might not gonna take it very easy way. So our third mutual, including we trying to contain our HOA due or expense, and then we're gonna have very hard job to do because of insurance. So I wanna remind all of our members, not only our third mutual expense, we have to be very, very careful, but all of our members going into GRF, GRF expense, we have to be very careful and fight any increase as much as we can. Thank you.
Okay, good comment. Any more questions? Yes, President.
Yeah, I just want to mention that on the resale, There are two factors there. One is the market itself that, increasing by, there is a variation between 3 to 5% on a yearly basis. But the major part of it is the remodeling. When we buy the unit here and they do remodel and sell, the increase is over $100,000 on the value of the house, sometimes $200,000. So those are the issues that we need to consider. It's not just the market going up $100,000, is the input into the units that bought by the, flippers, I call them, and they increase the value of the property. Some of the condos right now that have been done, I looked one of them, I was amazed of how much remodeling they did. It's in the close to $800,000 for 1,000.
Wow.
So it is a lot of, that skews the numbers a little bit to understand what's impacting the market for us.
Okay.
That's just my comment.
Okay, and I just going to say, as I mentioned earlier, we're keeping a very close eye on insurance and the insurance market. And it's something we are always doing, but particularly right now.
So current insurance issue, we're trying to come up with some other savings by going different insurance company as well. So it's coming. We'll report you.
Oh, and I since it was mentioned, probably our folks out in the audience today and those who are viewing at home and later, I don't know how aware they are that we were given permission to go out 100 feet on that west end of Third Mutual in the conservation area. It took years to get the Conservancy to be willing to allow us to do that. And that's going to ultimately be important in terms of reducing fire risk. Yes?
It does help us reduce fire risk, but insurance companies have said to us 100 feet is meaningless, and it doesn't impact the insurance premium. They want a minimum of 300 feet, and the Conservancy won't give us the 300 feet. But I'm going to suggest that we think about suing the Conservancy because they're putting us at risk for fires, and that we sue them so we can go the 300 feet.
Which
That's
is
just a thought.
Yeah, something to
What
consider.
about the cost of maintaining 300 feet?
If
It's
that'll
gonna go up.
reduce our insurance premium,
Yeah, okay.
It could be, yes.
it could be very worthwhile.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, I got-
Although we did have, excuse me, we did have a fire risk assessment done because of that concern about the property on the west side. And as I recall, when it was done, there was a mention that one thing that helps us is the fact that that Conservancy land is west of us. It's on the west side. And the bad winds, the Santa Anas that are dry winds that come, are usually coming from the east. And so that's very important. And I think we have to hit that pretty hard and remind the insurance companies as well. So we did have a fire study, and they did mention that because the area is west of us,
Okay.
that is helpful potentially. So that's it.
Yeah.
That is the finance report plus
Okay.
a bonus.
Any question or comments? No? Okay, let's move. We're kind of behind already. So, report of Architectural Control and Standard Committee. Reza?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll fill up for Dr. Moon in that meeting and chair the committee. There were several issues that were discussed. One of them that we brought up by the member was the hard floor surface. There was a complaint about it, and now we have added that to the discussion items for the next time to discuss how we're going to deal with that. We discussed a lot about the decibels and the noises and all of that. Some of it was a little bit hard to know which way going because there was a lot of technical talks. So that one going to be added to the next one. We discussed the air conditioning and heat pumps policies, and that's going to be on the next agenda also. We discussed the over-the-counter variances, and I think that was approved. The other issue was the use of the common, exclusive use common area. And there was a lot of discussion about, what percentage of the, of the exclusive use common area, especially at the courtyard, not the patio, which is the back, can be taken before you come to the, fully to the street, rather than staying behind the gate that have the courtyard. So that's going to be discussed in the next one also. The committee going to talk about it, and how they're going to deal with that. And then other than that, our next meeting going to be February 10 at 9:30.
Good, thank you. Continue. Report of Maintenance and Construction Committee.
Okay.
Doctor.
Thank you. The Maintenance Construction Committee met on January 6th, and the department had discussion, started with the laundry machine cashless payments, and United had one presentation. There's going to be another presentation with the United, and we're going to be attending that too. So we learn the companies that can provide those services, and if they are, a good use of our, resources for that. We talk about the street light replacement, and VMS informed that 2 additional poles have been ordered and will be stored by the vendor for future need, because the delivery date for those poles is longer than originally anticipated, and the staff are working on it. Also, the staff was directed to add the Garden Villa building parking garage seepage study to the project log. We discussed the 2026 budget a little bit, and we also talked about 2025 budget, which there was an item in there for the outside services, and we taking that to sending that to the Finance Committee to look at, see if we can use some of that money to restore the Shepherd Crook and then gutter cleaning. That would go to the Finance Committee, and then going to go to the board meeting to the full board after that. Also, there was a request that we do the MNC meeting rather than every other month, do it every month. We discussed a lot of that. We understand that the staff time is important, but MNC is one of the more important areas that we have, and we decided to do it on a monthly basis. As a chair, I will work with the staff to make sure that the agenda is appropriate for the monthly meeting. We also talked about the prior to paint program. That's one of the very expensive items that we have, which goes across the landscaping and the MNC, the prior to paint program. Our next meeting, which is going to be on, let me get the date for that. The next meeting that's going to be on February 3rd, there's going to be a presentation, combined presentation of the landscape and the MNC about the coordination for the prior to paint program, because collectively we're putting millions of dollars in that program, and we want to know how it's coordinated, how it's going to work out, because we really didn't start on the right foot with it. It took a lot more time to do a couple of buildings, and our members weren't happy about it. We want to make sure that we spend money on these projects, we get the maximum benefit back from it. So please attend the next meeting, which is February 3rd, if you are interested in the prior to paint program, and see how it's going to be coordinated between the MNC and the landscaping. That's my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Report of Landscape Committee is myself. Third Mutual Landscape Committee meeting was held on January 2nd, 2025, 9:30 in this boardroom. Department head updated for closing of 2024 landscape project and opening of 2025 project. Staff also reported that the start of a tree maintenance service by Bartlett tree service is a new contract service, and our slope maintenance service by MTC in detail. However, slope, I also ask repair the spots that we can see as a bare spot. So they are going to address those spots starting next month. Landscape Committee discussed and considered the following. Staff present 2025 budget service level, which will serve as a budget reference for 2026. Gate 14 survey plan for AB 1572, which is non-functional turf removal project. PPRP prior to paint landscape project process report. 1, 3312, 3319, it is on 90-day maintenance schedule starting on November 25th, 2024. Other ongoing activity for PPRP is the CDS 328, building 3320, 3325, CDS 401, which is building 4001, 4002, and then CDS 4003, that is building 4003, 4004, and 4005. Landscape staff, our landscape staff has been asked for a joint presentation of a PPRP project with MNC on February 2nd. Next, the Landscape Committee meeting is scheduled on Thursday, February 6, 2025, 9:30 a.m. in this boardroom. Thank you. That's my report. E, report of Water Conservation Committee. Director Sostek.
Yes, and the Water Conservation Committee had not met since the end of April of last year, but folks have been busy anyway, and we will be meeting a week from Thursday on the 30th of January. The meeting will be held in the Elm Room right on this floor, and we've purposely moved it down to the main floor because it's a room that is very conducive to folks sitting at the table, not just the committee, but participation, because we need everybody when it comes to water conservation. But things have not been idle, even though there hadn't been a meeting in October. The annual H2O for HOAs was presented by the combined water districts of South Orange County, and our own Kurt Weeman was on the panel to discuss water conservation in relationship to landscape. And in November, El Toro Water District, our water district, held their community advisory group called the CAG, and they hold that quarterly, and several of our board members were there, and several members of the community were there also, and everybody is invited and welcome to come to those. It almost was prophetic that their presentation at the November CAG meeting was on how they will handle emergency water supplies, and shortly after that we found Los Angeles found out a need. So we might have them repeat some of that at next Thursday's meeting. So again, hopefully we'll see some of you, many of you, at the Water Conservation meeting. We will be meeting quarterly from then on. The last Thursday of January, April, July, October, and it will for now be in the L room. When the room is changed because it is going to be used for something else, we will always let you know. And that's our report.
What time is that meeting?
2 p.m. in the afternoon.
2 p.m. Okay, item F, report of Resident Policy and Compliance Committee. Committee was met on November 27, 2024. So actually, I do not have anything to report. Next meeting is scheduled January 29, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. in this boardroom. Thank you. That's all for our third mutual report. And now item 13, GRF committee highlights. First, GRF Community Activity Committee, Director Mitchell, please.
Okay, thank you. The committee met on Thursday, January 9th. The committee spent most of its time reviewing the 2026 capital budget requests. We are already looking at the 2026 budget, believe it or not, even though it's just January. The proposed equipment and projects for 2026 in recreation and special events, the request totals $4,006,000. The request for updates and repair, I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. The request for updates and repairs for the clubhouses totals $2,675,000 of that $4 million request. The big ticket item in this request is for $1,850,000 for Clubhouse 2 Annex building renovation. The Annex building is over 30 years old. They believe it's seen its useful life expectancy is exceeded, and that there is talk about replacing it, and the initial budget for the investigation, everything is $1.85 million. For the golf budget request is $1,067,000. This includes bunker renovation, cart path repair, and refurbish of restrooms. This budget also includes, just so that you have the information, the purchase of a fairway mower at a cost of $105,000. Understand, none of these expenses are written in stone. The meeting on January 9th was the very first look at Recreation's request for 2026. We'll be doing a much deeper dive into the requests in the coming months. The next meeting is February 13th at 1:30 here in the boardroom, obviously open to all members, and we encourage you to come in because this is the CAC addresses a large percentage of the money that GRF spends. So it's in your best interest, and we welcome you to come.
Thank you. I hope Director Muchnick cut down the expenses of the GRF so that we can lower our expenses as well. Thank you. Next item is Laguna Woods traffic hearings. GRF traffic hearing was held on January 15, 2025, 9 a.m. in this boardroom. In that hearing, the committee reviewed a total of 7 violations, and the results are as follows. 4, failure to stop sign, guilty and fine. 1, notice of violation was offended by Amazon driver. 1, notice of violation of stop sign was a second violation, resulted in $150 fine. Item 2, 1 park obstruction of access, not guilty. 1 parked on sidewalk, guilty, but no fine as a warning. 1, a driver's license not produced at the time of the stop, the guilty and fine, that will be $200 fine. Next, the traffic hearing is scheduled on February 19, 2025, 9 a.m. in this boardroom, and this hearing committee will be represented by our Director Muchnick in place of myself. So he will be our representative of hearing committee. Thank you. Item C, Disaster Preparedness and Task Force. Director Wayne?
Steve's going to do that.
Oh,
Thanks.
Right here.
Oh. Okay.
Steve was at the meeting, I wasn't, so.
Okay, discussion ensued about the emergency radio equipment installation. As of this date, November 26th, 75% of the radio equipment has been installed at predetermined locations. Clubhouses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 have been completed, and Clubhouse 6 and the Par 3 golf course to be completed in the near future. Equipment procurement for this, all necessary equipment has been received. And initial training sessions for designated personnel have been completed. Any additional training sessions deemed to be necessary will be completed by the Amateur Radio Club. Okay. There was a little discussion on getting an outside contract to finish installing the emergency radio equipment. One person came forward who was licensed to do that, volunteered his time and expertise. Okay, there was some concern I wanted to mention. It was brought up about the shooting that took place on May 15th, 2024 at the Geneva Presbyterian Church. And a member of the committee was concerned about the gate closure at 14 and not being able to get a hold of security on this day. That's been surfaced to staff, and I believe they're working it. Is that right?
That item had actually been long resolved because the sheriff's department controlled that scene, and so I'm not sure what the disconnect was, but we can reach out to the member and make sure that we're on the same page communication-wise.
Okay. The other item was the Jacob Green and Associates study. Laguna Woods Village does not have the same responsibility as the city of Laguna Woods. It is a private community, and the analysis was done to show that we're able to do what we're able to do and what the city will do. The goal is not to duplicate city's efforts and responsibility when an emergency is presented. There is a city, state, and Laguna Woods Village responsibility overview. FEMA acts as a fiduciary for the county. The goal is to have an operational person with direct contact to assist in resources and allocations. And there was some discussion, too, about having a person from here being with, the city whenever there is a disaster. So that's being looked at. Anything else you'd like to bring forward from staff?
Just briefly, in terms of having a staff member at the Emergency Operations Center, I know Chief Nunez has been working with the city, and that's definitely something that can be done and will enhance our response in the event that there is a large disaster.
Okay. The other thing was on this study, we're going to be able to actually look at it, I think, in March when they present it, and we'll be able to make comments on that. Donna?
Yes, I was on the committee prior to your coming back to the board while I was on JRF, and that green study was part of a gap analysis, and the city of Laguna Woods had invited the village to participate with them. So we were able to do that at very little cost because the big study was already being done. So not only is the exciting news that we were able to participate, but that we're actually both on one page now, which is really exciting. Our plans are coordinated. But I was told to remind all of our members and everybody that you talk to, the new directive is when there is an emergency to shelter in place and to get that word out, because up until then it was go to one of the clubhouses, and that is not what the guidance is now. So although this isn't that meeting, I was asked to remind people when we can.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay. Next meeting will be January 28th. January 28th.
January 28th?
Yes.
At 9:30 a.m.
In this boardroom.
In the boardroom.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Next item is D, GRF Maintenance and Construction Committee. Director Koremi.
Yeah, the last meeting was December 11, which was reported in the January meeting, and I'm sorry, in December meeting.
Yeah.
And the next meeting is February 12, 2025 at 9:30 p.m.
Okay. Item E, GRF Finance Committee. Donna?
That was just concluding last year and letting everybody know about the increase for this coming year.
Okay.
The increase was a little over $19, and what was one of the most important points of the meeting was 84% of that increase was costs that GRF had zero control over. It was things like insurance and utilities.
Okay.
So That was pretty interesting. There was little they could do with those.
Next meeting will be February 19th? Right, okay. Item F, a GRF Mobility and Vehicle Committee, Director Johnson. Okay, so the meeting was met on November 6th, so there's nothing to report. And February 5th, February 5th is the next meeting schedule, right? 1:30 p.m. in this boardroom. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Item G, Landscape Committee, GRF Landscape Committee. It was December 11th. We reported last month at board meeting, and next meeting schedule is the February 12th, 1:30 p.m. in this boardroom. Item H, GRF Media and Communication
I'm here.
Committee, Director Moore.
Yes, the committee met on October 30th, 2024. The next meeting is January 24th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. in the boardroom.
Thank you. Item I, Space Planning and Ad Hoc Committee, Director Karimi, but this committee hasn't been held for a long time. Now they're scheduling this committee next month. Am I correct?
I have not received any
Yes,
communication yet, but
yeah.
I take your words for it.
Right. So starting next month, there will be revived for the meeting committee. Item J, Information Technology Advisory Committee. ITAC, a closed meeting was held December 27, 2024, 1:30 p.m. in this boardroom. No, excuse me, as a closed meeting. Advisory Committee overseeing the development and implementation of Microsoft-based Dynamic 365 software program, which is ERP. Since the September 1st go live, we have successfully completed the ERP System 1, except the budget program. As we are close to 2026 budget time, ITAC now is setting the budget program targeting to end of April 20th. So next ITAC meeting is scheduled on January 31st at 1:30 p.m. on the web closed meeting. That's my report for ITAC meeting. Now, next item is a GRF Board Broadband and Ad Hoc Committee. Director Muchnick?
Okay. This committee has not met in the last couple of months. However, the broadband group and staff are currently reviewing and redlining the first draft of the Ting agreement. Ting is the company that we're negotiating with to build and install the whole new streaming system that will take place here in the village. Prior to Christmas, the Ting, T-I-N-G, Ting construction team visited Laguna Woods Village for 3 days to walk the site and meet with broadband staff. As long as the agreement between us and Ting is reached by spring, the broadband group is of the opinion that they will still have a comfortable window for the construction of the new project.
Okay, very nice, very nice. I hope it's successful for us. Item I, GRF Security and Community Access Committee. Meeting was held October 23rd. Since then, nothing to report this month. Next meeting scheduled on February 26, 2025, 1:30 p.m. in this boardroom. That's it for the GRF update. Any question or comments? Nothing? So next item is a future agenda item. Any? Oh, yes.
I want to see if we can put that on our agenda because I know United and GRF have formed 2 new committees, energy and revenue enhancement. I think we need to discuss if third want to join the United and GRF. And if not, then, that's the decision of board, but since they have done that, we need to look at it and let them know that what's their intention.
Okay, so we can,
If you
Just,
agree, we can put it in the
right.
future. If not, I
Future
understand
agenda.
that too.
Michaela, can we put that on?
Yeah, Paul's taking minutes, so he should be able to add that.
Okay,
absolutely.
so Energy and Revenue Generation Committee, ad hoc committee, something in that nature. Could it be separate? Energy,
Yeah, they're-
ad hoc
they're two
committee,
separate.
and the
Separate
revenue
committees. They're
generation? Yeah,
separate
separate.
committees.
Let's discuss next month. Okay, any more future items? No? Good. Item 15, director's comment. Let's go from Donna.
Thank you very much. No comment except Happy New Year to everybody.
Good. How about Reza?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that next month will be every other month that we bring the city manager or invite the city manager to come in. I just want to make sure the staff are aware of that, and we can invite for the next meeting.
Okay.
The
Yes.
city manager.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
Thank you. And then, Director?
Just want to say good meeting, thank everybody, and also Happy New Year to everybody who's listening, and stay safe.
Okay. Dr.
Ditto, and no other comments.
Good. Wayne?
I have no comments.
Ruth?
No comment.
Hey, Fox.
I'm here.
For everything they do, and thanks for inviting.
Thank you. You are not invited. You have to come. All right. So no other choice other than come. And I feel bad about Director Jalen. You know, he's constantly missing the latter part. Last meeting was the same thing. This meeting is the same thing. So I hate to see that happening. If once you volunteer for the sake of the residents, you must fulfill your duty as a directorship. I hope everyone has that. Thank you.
SK,
Yes.
I just want to say thank you to everyone. I truly appreciate the board that I'm on now. It's functioning beautifully. And I thank all the residents here for putting these people in place. So Happy New Year and thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. I'll see you in face
afternoon.
someday.
This afternoon, I'll be there this afternoon.
Okay, good. Thank you. Oh, you coming this afternoon?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. So this is done. Director comment. Let's recess for close the meeting at Willow Room. Everybody okay?
Adjourning this meeting.
Yeah, adjourn this meeting.
What time would you like to start the closed
yeah.
session? It's
How
current-
about 12?
Sure, okay.
Okay, good. Thank you. Is it okay? 11:43.